I recently had to put down some very firm boundaries with someone, and even though objectively looking at it, it was very warranted and very needed, I still felt guilty. I still was doubting myself. I was ruminating over it, overthinking it. So I wanted to talk about this a little bit because I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are having similar feelings about putting down boundaries. I think a big misconception about putting down boundaries is that we think it's going to feel great. We're going to feel so powerful for taking that next step and standing up for ourselves. But the truth is, most of the time, it really doesn't, especially if you're still unlearning like people pleasing behaviors and you're just simply not very well versed in putting down boundaries. It's going to feel very bad. You're going to feel very confused about it, and that's totally normal. Expect it to feel bad. It's not supposed to feel good in the beginning. If it does, more power to you. But if it doesn't, then just know that it's part of the process. It's not proof that it wasn't a good decision, that it was bad for you. None of that. It just means that you did something that was outside of your comfort zone, something that was outside of what you would normally do. So your mind, your mental state, your emotions, everything is kind of evaluating it as something that is unsafe and new and uncomfortable. One thing I noticed about myself in that situation when I was trying to stand up for myself with this other person is that I felt like I was gonna hurt them. Like, I felt like if I say that to them, they're not gonna expect it and it's gonna hurt them. And immediately, what I then tend to do is I tend to discount my own pain and overestimate the pain I'm gonna inflict on someone else. Like, I always have this mindset almost of, I can take it. Like, I can take it. If I'm hurt, like, if I continue, it might hurt me, but I can take it. But I don't want to put that hurt on someone else. Just because you're an emotionally resilient person, which is great, but it doesn't mean that you have to take everything. Just because you can take it doesn't mean you should. Especially when it comes to someone else hurting you and crossing lines in your life. Like, your biggest concern shouldn't be if your reaction is gonna hurt them or not. They already hurt you. Of course, it's very noble to think that, okay, just because they hurt me, I'm not trying to hurt them. But this is not about hurt. It might be a byproduct, but you're not going out of your way to hurt someone. So you cannot always hold yourself to that impossible standard of, I'm never gonna hurt anyone ever under any circumstances. Because if you do that, you're still always gonna hurt a person, but that person is always gonna be you. When I was sitting there and like typing out my reply to that person, I also felt fear. Like, I felt anxiety. And I think that fear came from the fact that that person held some emotional power over me. It's not actually dangerous. Nothing about that situation was actually dangerous, but they held such power over me in my head and all my emotions that it felt dangerous. But in the long run, it's a lot more dangerous to continuously let people walk all over you than to stand up for yourself in that moment. You're just kind of delaying the inevitable. It's not gonna stop. Like, whatever they do, if you don't communicate your boundaries and your limits, it's not gonna stop. Like, it will just prolong the whole process and make it more difficult down the line, and you will lose yourself in the process. And this is one of the most detrimental things about continuously letting people walk all over you. You will lose yourself. Because think about it, if you don't enforce some sort of, everyone has them. There's no person that has no boundaries. We all have things we like and we dislike, and it's not always like a black and white thing either. There are compromises, there are gray zones, but we all have them in all forms, capacities, and along the black and white spectrum and gray spectrum, whatever. But if you don't communicate any of that, you will always bring a version of you that is just not authentically you, because authentically you comes with things that you don't like. It comes with limits. It comes with things that may be conflicting to another person, and that's fine. You don't want to pretend to be someone you're not, right? Like, you want to go into the world and connect people in an authentic, genuine way. You want to bring you. But if you just let everyone handle you in whatever way they want, then what remains of you in these interactions? Like, you will interact with people but feel like a shell of yourself because you don't communicate who you truly are. And that plays into self-acceptance as well, because maybe we have a hard time communicating our limits and things about us that might rub others the wrong way, because we have a hard time accepting those things about ourselves. So it's like, if we can't accept that about ourselves, how can others? Or if now I communicate that to others, I kind of have to hold myself to that standard. I think we also maybe would like to think that we can just go into the world and interact with everyone and just be friends with everyone and never step on everybody's toes, because that would be more comfortable than sometimes running into conflict with people and having some sort of confrontation with people. That is uncomfortable. That is inherently uncomfortable. But the price of that is authenticity, authentic interactions. If you genuinely have a genuine, authentic connection with someone, you will be able to communicate your boundaries. They will be able to communicate your boundaries. You will be able to find compromises without compromising the actual relationship you have. That is a sign of a healthy relationship. If communicating healthy boundaries, healthy limits about yourself results in a loss of a relationship, then that relationship wasn't for you in the first place. It wasn't. And that can be painful to accept, but ultimately that will lead you down the road of more genuine connections, because people that are for you will accept you the way that you actually are, not like a shiny, polished, curated version of yourself that never rubs anyone the wrong way, but really truly you, with all of your facets and all of your little intricacies and whatever you bring to the table. If you are in a healthy relationship, a healthy friendship, I'm saying relationship like in a very generic way, if it's healthy, then communicating what irks you, communicating boundaries, communicating limits will actually be a source of strengthening the relationship, because it's an opportunity to see each other more fully, because they're opening up. Like, communicating in any way genuinely is always opening up something within yourself and like letting someone else in. And I think the more we see it as that and not as an attack that we need to get defensive about, it would always be a chance of coming together closer. So if someone makes you feel bad simply for the sole fact of even attempting to communicate your boundaries, that is not a healthy relationship. Of course, I believe you also have a responsibility in how you communicate. Like, I don't believe in the whole, I'm just going to tell you whatever is on my mind and how I feel, and then however that makes you feel is none of my business. I don't really believe that. I do think you have a responsibility in how you talk to people, of course, but no one should make you feel that talking about what is healthy and not healthy for you and what works and doesn't work for you is a problem in of itself. And when you do communicate, just bear in mind that all those feelings of guilt, shame, fear, hurt are expected. They're part of the process. They're part of you growing into a more adult version of yourself, into a more accountable version of yourself, because you are accountable for your life at the end of the day. Like, you need to make sure that the people that surround you are healthy and good for you. And all those uncomfortable feelings are actually proof. They're a sign that you're actually growing into that version of yourself that can stand up for yourself. You're doing something new, so it's expected that you feel uncomfortable. Just take it on the chin, expect it. Don't think it's a sign that you did something wrong. Take it as part of the process. And ultimately, be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself, and be kind to others. Any sort of relationship requires compromise. It requires communication. And communication is not just saying what you think and what you feel, but also listening. I think we don't emphasize that enough when we talk about communication. I think most of the time when we talk about communication, it's just about we need to say how we feel, and we do. But we also need to learn to listen, actually properly listen. So take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon.
Dragged by my feet and pulled up by the moonlight, lungs filled with whole pants caught up in a riptide. No, no, don't you know?